Top story this morning, Russia has responded to Western sanctions by refusing to rule out the use of military force in southeastern Ukraine. President Vladimir Putin says troops will be deployed to the Donbas region if necessary. Military vehicles, including tanks, have been filmed on the outside of Donetsk as Western leaders claim an invasion is underway. Russia's parliament voted in favour of giving President Putin authority to send troops across the border to conduct what it calls peacekeeping missions. Moscow also claimed the peace process between Russia and Ukraine, the Minsk agreement, was finished and blamed Kyiv for its failure. He called on Ukraine to demilitarise and to denounce its NATO membership ambitions.
We will provide all type of assistance, including military assistance. If there is a conflict, of course, if it's necessary, we will follow through on the obligations that we undertook.
NATO reinforced its calls for Moscow to step back and choose a path of diplomacy. Its Secretary-General says there's every indication Russia is still planning for a full-scale attack. He said NATO will shield its members from any aggression and has over 100 jets on high alert.
We urge Russia in the strongest possible terms to choose the path of diplomacy. This is the most dangerous moment in European security for a generation.
Western powers have begun slapping sanctions on Russia in response to the escalation. A host of nations, including the UK, France and the EU, have all imposed measures. Germany has also halted the approval of the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline from Russia. Deborah Haynes has more on that.
The Parliament has actually has given that approval to President Putin's request to use military force outside of the country. That is to give that top cover for his demand that Russian troops be moved into the separatist-held parts of eastern Ukraine that he has recognised as independent, but of course also does give authority for if he were to want to widen that escalation. And the Russian president, when he was speaking just a few minutes ago, was talking about the exact territory that he has described as being recognised as being independent. You'll know that Luhansk and Donetsk, those two disputed regions, have a line of contact running through them, which means that there is Ukrainian-controlled parts and also separatist-held parts. And the president saying that this is something that he realised it needs to be resolved, but clearly there's a distinction, at least in terms of the potential for direct contact and confrontation between Russian and Ukrainian forces if Russian troops were to move over that line of contact into Ukrainian-held territory. An incredibly dangerous crisis. The UK, the NATO Secretary-General, the United States, all warning about the potential for a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, perhaps even as early as this week.